Do you think our democracy is at risk in this election?
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course, but democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period. The guy's a monster. He is beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of in order to get a rise out of us. I don't know what it is, but he's been doing it, and it's scary.
Last year, Robert De Niro launched into a relentless tirade against Donald Trump, practically seething in every interview. He unleashed a barrage of extreme insults, calling Trump everything from a monster to a fascist. De Niro painted himself as a noble defender of democracy, but here's the twist. It was just another Hollywood performance, dripping with double standards. Now, Bill Maher has stepped in and torn apart De Niro's self-righteous act. If you live for brutal truth bombs and political takedowns, the mainstream media won't touch. Buckle up. You won't want to miss what's coming.
So why is Trump winning? I mean, the New York Times poll this week came out, and maybe this will change it with the State of the Union address, but Trump was beating him rather soundly. It was quite a warning light, 48-43, also winning way more among women than he had before, winning outright Latinos. What do you attribute that to?
I don't know. I just don't want to feel the way I did, and many of us don't, after the election in 2016.
This is what Trump derangement syndrome looks like. It hijacks your logic, shatters reasoning, and leaves reality in ruins. De Niro came armed with a long list of reasons why Trump shouldn't be elected, yet couldn't name a single reason why millions of Americans, including an unexpected wave of women, were rallying to bring him back. That's the kind of tunnel vision this obsession creates. And for those on the left still clinging to the fantasy that Trump only gained ground because Biden's brain short-circuited, it's time to wake up. The pre-election polls weren't whispering, they were screaming. Trump was gaining momentum. Democrats knew it. That's why the backstage panic set in. They didn't want a fair fight, they wanted a managed outcome. So Biden got the nudge, and Kamala Harris quietly moved into the spotlight. You're not crazier, just finally seeing things clearly.
The guy is a total monster. And anybody, I don't understand it. I guess they get behind that kind of logic. They want to put people, screw them, because they're unhappy about something. He's such a mean, nasty, hateful person. I'd never play him as an actor, because I can't see any good in him. Nothing.
Wait, did Robert De Niro actually say he wouldn't play Donald Trump if asked? Let's hit rewind. First of all, who's asking? Who in their right mind would cast De Niro as Trump? They don't even remotely resemble each other. That would be like casting Danny DeVito as LeBron James, completely absurd. Let's be honest, De Niro isn't the only actor in town. This wasn't some grand moral stand, it was delusion, plain and simple. At best, it's laughable. At worst, it's the unfiltered ramble of someone clearly losing touch. And it only gets wilder from here's just wait until you hear his predictions.
Nothing redeemable in him. And we have to, and whoever the people are who want to vote for him, and they look like intelligent people around there, for some reason, it can't be. It cannot be. If he wins the election, you won't be on the show anymore. He'll come looking for me. There'll be things that happen that none of us can imagine. That's what happens in that kind of a dictatorship, which is what he says. Let's believe him, take him at his word.
This is downright surreal. Trump has been back in office for months now. And let's be honest, how many of De Niro's apocalyptic predictions actually came true? 0, not 1. But here's what did happen. Trump made an unexpected move. He invited one of his fiercest critics, Bill Maher, to the White House. Yes, that Bill Maher, the lifelong Democrat, liberal donor, and vocal Republican critic. Not a single Democratic president ever gave Maher that kind of access, not Obama, not Clinton, not even Biden, but Trump did. Why? Because he doesn't hide from tough conversations? He doesn't stick to echo chambers or rehearsed sound bites. He runs straight into the fire. That's what makes him not just unpredictable, but undeniably effective. So in a strange way, De Niro was right. Trump has done the unimaginable. Just not the Hollywood-style collapse they kept warning us about.
Do you think our democracy is at risk in this election?
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course, but democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period. The guy's a monster. He is beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of in order to get a rise out of us. I don't know what it is, but he's been doing it, and it's scary.
At this point, it's painfully clear that Robert De Niro knows very little about anything outside of acting and hurling insults at Donald Trump. Just listen to how he defines democracy. He starts by saying, "Not everyone understands what it means," and then offers a definition so cartoonishly basic it sounds like it was ripped from a middle school civics book. It's not just simplistic, it's arrogant and embarrassing, but who's really surprised? This is classic woke Hollywood. Loud, self-congratulatory, and completely disconnected from reality. These people live in such a thick bubble that the real world can't even reach them. They preach about democracy while silencing dissent, claim moral superiority while refusing to hear opposing views. De Niro isn't an outlier, he's just the loudest in a chorus of clueless elites echoing each other from the red carpet. And the rest of us, we're done pretending they deserve to lead the conversation.
I am totally dumbfounded, baffled by that. I can't understand it. And it's a thing that we've seen over decades and decades. And he's a what's it, Tammy Faye and the other one?
Yes.
It's the same thing, give us your money, we're going to save you. Yeah, televangelist.
Yeah.
It's just the same.
But De Niro didn't stop at attacking Trump. He went after everyday Americans who supported him. He didn't pull any punches, either. He essentially gaslit millions of voters, painting them as gullible fools tricked by a con man. In De Niro's world, if you support Trump, you're either stupid, blind, or brainwashed. That's the kind of disdain he has for anyone outside his elite Hollywood circle. And the irony, the same guy accusing Trump supporters of being duped is out here parroting talking points from late-night comedians and activist news anchors, as if that makes him some kind of intellectual. Agreeing with the Hollywood hive mind doesn't make you smart, it makes you predictable. And that's exactly why Americans are tuning celebrities out. They're tired of being talked down to by out-of-touch millionaires who confuse fame with wisdom. Spoiler alert, it's not the same thing. So, when De Niro finally crossed paths with a Trump supporter in New York, let's just say it didn't go quietly.
Bobby, it's your favorite president. I forgive you, Bobby, for being such a loser about the election. It's not your fault you were born with a low IQ. It's not your fault, Bobby. Believe me. Bobby, your favorite president won. Kamala lost. She lost so strongly. You were wrong. You're a loser. You're a total loser. This show sucks. You're gonna get low ratings, Bob.
Seriously, who appointed Robert De Niro as the national moral compass for how Americans should vote? He lives in a Hollywood bubble, totally insulated from the real struggles facing everyday people. While families across the country have been crushed by skyrocketing gas prices, soaring grocery bills, and paychecks that don't stretch far enough, especially under President Biden, Niro lounges in his multi-million-dollar mansion, sipping wine without a care. He's never felt that economic squeeze. He's never had to choose between paying rent and buying food, so when he smugly scolds Americans for supporting Trump, it doesn't come off as passionate, it comes off as elitist and out of touch. If he's got a personal vendetta against Trump, that's fine. But that doesn't give him the right to belittle millions of hardworking citizens for making a choice they believe in. That's not activism, it's arrogance, masquerading as virtue.
Damning revelations tonight about the Biden inner circle's efforts to hide his decline, including a scene in which the campaign staged a fake town hall. Why? Well, to quell concerns about his age and ability to interact with people.
Meanwhile, the Democrats, De Niro, so passionately champions, were busy staging choreographed town halls and spoon-feeding scripted lines to prop up their faltering candidate, Joe Biden. Let that sink in. This is the party De Niro expects Americans to blindly follow, a party so terrified of the truth they couldn't even be honest about Biden's obvious cognitive decline. Instead of facing it head-on, they covered it up. They shielded him from tough questions, minimized public appearances, and fed the media pre-approved talking points. But now, the cracks are showing. A new book by CNN's Jake Tapper is set to expose just how bad Biden's decline really is and how it sent the DNC into panic mode. The cover-up is unraveling, and the reality coming to light is uglier than most imagined.
Other campaigns have used fake town halls. Now, I would say those town halls usually are in addition to real town halls. Joe Biden was doing neither. This fake town hall was in order to film it so they could make it into campaign commercials. They filmed it in Delaware with supporters. But Joe Biden at this point, this is the spring of 2024, Joe Biden's town hall, which was closed to press, was so bad that campaign officials determined that it was not usable for a campaign commercial. So they took 90 minutes, 2 hours out of the president's day, they filmed an entire town hall, and they determined that it was not usable.
Yes, Biden's decline is that serious. Even during a tightly controlled, scripted town hall complete with pre-selected questions and a friendly audience, he still couldn't keep it together. The entire event was managed to perfection, right down to the lighting. And yet, it didn't work. Biden stumbled over his lines, veered off topic, and slipped into those now familiar senior moments. Picture it, mid-sentence on a softball question. He suddenly loses track, mumbles something unintelligible, and wanders off stage with his hand outstretched to shake hands with someone who isn't there. It would be funny if it weren't so deeply concerning. This has gone beyond partisan politics. It's about leadership and whether the man behind the microphone even knows where he is.
Some people say this was because Joe Biden was incoherent. He could not really articulate his thoughts in a pithy or even semi-normal way. Some people just said like the lighting was bad. That was sort of the two points of view. But the point is, it shows how like what the campaign status was in the spring of 2024 when they were trying to deal with a candidate that wasn't a
risk. So here's the real question. Why now? Why did Jake Tapper suddenly decide to write a book exposing Biden's mental decline? What's the real agenda? Because, let's be honest, Biden's cognitive issues were never a secret. The stumbles, the vacant stares, the confused murmurs, it was all there, plain as day. Yet for years, the media, including Tapper, ignored it, downplayed it, or danced around it. The only ones pretending everything was fine were the Democrats desperate to hold on to power. But now, with the polls shifting and the narrative collapsing, suddenly we get a tell-all expose. It reeks of political damage control. Too little, too late. And that wraps up today's video. If you appreciated our take, don't forget to like and subscribe for more straight shooting commentary. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.